The midfield is an area of any team that is very hard to maintain and transition. Additionally, the importance is prevalent, as the role of a midfielder stems from the fact that they have to act as the first line of defense and as the main source of creation in attack. No matter what scenario of game you are and no matter the performances, a midfielder will always be questioned. They are the heart of the team, the key to success, and likewise the eye of the storm. With this, we move onwards to Barcelona, where the middle of the park is very much so a highly heated and controversial area for debate, as during the golden era of Pep Guardiola, and even before that, the midfield was always the engine of the whole squad. When as a fanbase you've witnessed the success of players like Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta, where does this leave a new face like Frenkie De Jong? Well, for the Barcelona crowd, there isn't any doubt about him. De Jong is the chosen one. The question now should be then, how through the rough waters of Barcelona can they make Frenkie De Jong play like he used to? Because it's clear and evident to see that there's still a long road ahead before Frenkie De Jong can command the midfield for years to come. Hello everyone, ¿cómo están? BugaLuis here. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. By far, I think that we all know the story of the Dutch sensation of Frenkie De Jong and how he joined Barcelona on the 23rd of January for 75 million euros with bonuses, blah blah blah. But what we all seem to forget, according to me, is that the transfer succeeded a huge saga in which the Dutchman was actually linked with so many other major clubs around in Europe like Manchester City and PSG. When you actually think about it, Barcelona being capable of signing De Jong and getting him in the situation that they were is a massive coup. When you see the prospect of this player and the potential that he clearly has, he's going to be up there considered with what an Mbappe, a Haaland should be for the midfield. And I believe that is no question. For some of you who may have not really seen the talent that this kid possesses, this would certainly come as a surprise. And especially because of the last few sort of games that he has carried out at Barcelona. Frenkie De Jong is a unique type of footballer and probably the most prolific versatile midfielder we have seen in a while. His ability to perform as far down the pitch as a CDM or as an attacking number 10 leave few to wonder where would their club be if they had actually managed to secure the signature of said player. And the reason that I say few instead of many is because past 3 managers later, in less than 2 complete seasons, earning a reported fee of 16 million euros per year, now many are starting to question that the match made in heaven may have gone astray, as Frenkie De Jong is failing to impress on a consistent basis in Blaugrana colors so far. And yeah, whilst I think this may be a stretch gone too far, I also understand the concern of those many. 75 million euros is not a small fee to pay by any means, and normally when you pay that amount for a player, you are expecting a certain consistency out of them. But just like De Jong has struggled, also the club has at all levels. And whilst I don't want to resume all of that into just basically that one reason, there's a lot of other factors that we also must take into account. So it's never good to criticize your own players, but we also have to give constructive feedback. And that is what we're going to be doing today with Frenkie De Jong. So let's find out those problems first so that we can get solutions to get Frenkie De Jong playing like he used to so well at Ajax. Now he's 23 years of age. De Jong is in his 2nd season at Barcelona. And just like we saw it initially when he arrived, he seems to be struggling quite a bit to find his form. Of course, we must not forget that Ronald Koeman is his 3rd Barcelona coach in around as half many years as he's been here, and that makes the situation so much more complicated. Each of Ernesto Valverde, Quique Setién and now Koeman have had different versions of Frenkie De Jong, resulting in the young midfielder to play many different positions and have many different responsibilities shifted across the pitch. In the 2019-2020 season, Valverde played a 4-3-3 formation, and De Jong was deployed as a left center midfielder with Sergio Busquets playing as the deep line playmaker in the pivot. While De Jong is a versatile player, yes, and can play anywhere on that midfield, There was a common consensus that he plays best as a defensive midfielder, and I feel that we still agree to that till this date. The partner next to him as the two midfielders in front of Sergio Busquets at the moment was either Artur, the now Juventus player, or the Croatian Ivan Rakitic. And the thing about this particularly that really struck us as very worrying for his progression under Valverde was that he was the most advanced of those three midfielders. While there is no need to explain Busquets and why he wouldn't be a number 10 of a player coming to the area from deep, additionally Rakitic was slowly aging, resulting in his defensive contributions declining as a result, and Arthur Melo was a very particular sort of player because he just didn't seem to have the sort of stamina to maintain 90 full minutes in games. Frenkie De Jong is a polyvalent footballer, but no one is that special of a player that he's being capable to play for two different positions. The best game of De Jong under Quique Setién, in my opinion, was the game against Napoli at home in the second leg of the Champions League knockout stages. The Dutchman was weaving his way past defenders, linking up with teammates and making threatening passes and dominating the midfield overall. He ended that game with a percentage accuracy in passing of 92%. 3 dribbles, 6 duels won, and 1 key pass. The reason comes down to something that I keep repeating till this day, and that is that there was no Busquets. He was suspended. There should never be a question of his ability when it comes to De Jong, but to reinforce, let's just take a look at De Jong's stats compared to that of other top central midfielders and other defensive midfielders in European football. This is just because I want you to realize that De Jong at this stage of his career in the 2019-2020 season was fueled with still very good numbers. With Ronald Koeman is where I believe perhaps we could have seen the biggest improvements to De Jong, because finally he would have a manager that would understand him. But now in his second full season at Barcelona, and even under Koeman, who's made him the hub of the whole team, he has not looked as robust as he once was. Frenkie De Jong holds onto possession for far too long, which results in ineffective passes. And on top of that, since we're talking now about a double pivot system with Ronald Koeman, that means that the midfielder will have to have even more defensive attentions, more defensive contributions, something that De Jong is good at, but is not the strength of his game. The reality is that the very first 2 games with De Jong under Koeman were honestly disastrous. They were very worrying, but now since the team has started to improve somewhat, we've seen De Jong do so as well. If Frenkie De Jong is indeed to become the anchor of Barcelona's system for the years to come, he needs to be showing much more than he currently is. We know the Dutchman is one of the best progressors of the ball on the planet, but apart from his occasional macy runs, there's been nothing really to write home about his performances. Here is where I say that the very first reason as to how we can get De Jong to improve is down to De Jong itself. De Jong must understand that some of the criticism that's going to be thrown at him it's for good reason, and mainly because we know how good he can be. So in all honesty, I do not have any trouble in seeing how he's going to be becoming better. But he's just simply been too safe and too timid on the ball so far, and even though ball recycling is an essential aspect of Barcelona's offensive tactics, he looked just slowful in possession, so lazy, taking unnecessary touches and processing information at a much lower rate and intensity than an elite midfielder should do, and certainly not of what we've seen so far before with Frenkie De Jong. Similarly, there has been issues of the ball as well, whether he's just been working with a double pivot structure and as a lone pivot as well, but he's not exactly instilling defensive confidence and security in his performances. It is something that we want De Jong to improve on. But again, I can reel it all up and talking about how Barcelona has so many structural problems inside this 11. Of course, De Jong cannot be blamed for the defensive actions that he has to cover up for someone like Sergio Busquets, and with that, I want to move onwards into the second reason, and that is that Ronald Koeman must help isolate the sort of external problems that are influencing his game. If we are to see some changes to De Jong, Koeman is not helping himself by starting Busquets, as you can see in this video that we did before. He is still probably the manager who knows De Jong the best, and along his assistant Alfred Schauder, I know that they can come up with a solution to make him play better, like he did at Ajax, like he does at the Netherlands. The reality is that Frenkie De Jong is an excellent player and has unlimited potential. There was a reason why he was sought out by so many great footballing minds like Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel, Hansi Flick at the time, and maybe even Ernesto Valverde, you can add to that list per se. It is acceptable to have rough patches, but there has to be some sort of criticism when we haven't seen any sort of development in almost 2 years so far. I personally do believe that a lot of that is due to the situation of the club, and from now onwards we can actually look past it and see an improved Frenkie De Jong. But another truth that must be mentioned is that world-class players, the ones that reach the top, don't need the support of the managers to be unlocked, or their teammates as well. That can help and accelerate the process, but the reality is that regardless of all external factors, the Dutchman has and was purchased to do a job, and he needs to do it at the end of the day. I trust on Frenkie De Jong to reach the top. He is one of my favorite players because of those reasons, that he's able to understand and criticize himself and how he constantly has to improve. Do you believe he's able to reach that sort of level? Let me know in the comment box down below. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.